Hey, World Entertainment, and things really aren't looking so bright for Ubisoft, as they've just had to do a quarter's earning call, and it didn't go quite well. In fact, the headline for this story is Ubisoft executives get evasive after investors question potential low sales for Star Wars Outlaws and Assassin's Creed Shadows. Now, of course, we know all about the controversy surrounding Assassin's Creed and the new game, Shadows, being the fact that they decided, hey, we're going to make a game set in feudal Japan and put in a black man as your main character. Which was just ridiculous. And everything that's coming out around this is ridiculous, including Ubisoft's actual statement, which we won't read, but I will have it popping up in this video that you can see yourself, because it's a long ass statement. And it's literally, at the end of it, all it basically is saying is, shut up and buy and play the game. Which is crazy. And it's directed purely at Japanese gamers, which is insane. And we will be having a look at this, because there's also just massive backlash to that game. But then, of course, Star Wars Outlaws, which gameplay has started to be seen, and we'll take a look at a couple of clips, because this thing looks horrendously bad and everybody's calling it out. Everyone is looking at it going, why does this thing look like it should be on the PlayStation 2, not a PS5 and Xbox Series 1 or whatever the hell the Xbox consoles are called nowadays. But the gameplay looks repetitive, it looks boring, it just looks terrible. But we'll have a look at the statement, because it's just crazy. So, Ubisoft's executives CEO Yves Guillemot and CFO Frederic Duque did their best to avoid questions from institutional investors regarding the company's potential sales for its upcoming games, Star Wars Outlaws and Assassin's Creed Shadows. Now, before we jump into where the question comes across, or one of the questions, here's the first clip that was doing the rounds that people were just looking at saying, what in Christ's name is this? And how do they expect people to invest money in this? Especially if you want the higher end of the game with the 2-day early access and stuff, which is like over $100. Have a look at this repetitive gameplay, and especially the slide that the character does, because if you look carefully at it, it doesn't even look like she touches the ground. Here is the first clip. Look at this.
All this for a tooth.
So you see just how bad it is. And yes, it is one of these, I'll just keep shooting the barrels. And you can watch that clip where you walk around and you just keep shooting barrels to blow up. It's just like, Jesus Christ, what is this game? How bad is it? How did they put this much money and effort into a game for the next gen consoles, and it looks like it's from a console from 20 years ago? It's ridiculous. But anyway, it says here, during the company's Q1 financial year of 2024 sales report, Ubisoft noted that it expects to have the net bookings in its second quarter come in around $500 million, euros, when it releases Star Wars Outlaws. For comparison, the company's net booking for the first quarter clocked in at $290 million when it released X-Defined. So they're saying the release of Star Wars alone is going to bring in $500 million. And when we get into this guy's question, he breaks down what their numbers are saying, and it's not even close to what they're trying to say. But before we get to his question, we may as well take a look at the other clip, because it's just as bad and just looks like boring gameplay. It's a speeder moment in the game, and well, just look at it. Yeah, so you see that there. And tell me if I'm wrong, but the pod race game on the N64 looks 10 times better than that. Like, wow, is that bad? That just looks like you're basically in a desert and you're like driving in a straight line, and it just looks horrendous. But Barclays' Nick Dempsey questioned the low prediction in a Q&A session during the company's sales call. He asked, "When I look at the guidance for Q2 and if I assume something similar to back catalogue in Q2 as Q1, kind of getting to 200 to 230 million, that sort of range for the new release Star Wars Outlaws, when I look at the $70 price and then assume what you might get from it, I'm getting around 5 million units. Something in that sort of bracket. First of all, where could I be going wrong with that thinking? Secondly, are you just being pretty conservative in your guidance? Because I guess, given the interest in the game, we might have thought it would have been more than 5 million units. So what he's saying there is what they're estimating just from the $70 price range, which is the standard game. They're only calculating that from the numbers they're seeing, it's only expected to ship 5 million units, which is not good. And not only would he question the sale figures for Star Wars Outlaws, he also questioned the potential for Assassin's Creed Shadows. And he said this, "When I look at the second half, clearly I think we are going to need a heavy contribution from Assassin's Creed. But could it be those revenues would in fact be boosted by multiple hundreds of millions in partnership deals? That kind of range to get us over the line." So he's questioning there, your numbers for this Star Wars game are not good and are nowhere close to what it should be. We're going to need the Assassin's Creed Shadow game to come in and boost the earnings as well. But by the sounds of it, he's saying you're going to need multiple, if not hundreds, if not millions of partnership deals to get that over the line. That is insane. So Ubisoft CEO responds to the first question saying, "We can't comment on the very numbers you are quoting, but what we have factored in is a strong launch for Star Wars Outlaws that reflects the fact that it is among the most awaited games of the industry this year and a really strong positive community sentiment." Are you kidding me? No one is interested in this game. Everyone took one look at it and went, "Oh, it's a female knockoff Han Solo with piss poor gameplay." No one's interested in it. So that statement there is, please don't take your money away from us. That's what that statement is. But he continued, he also said, "And also the fact that we are coming with the biggest marketing campaign ever so far for an Ubisoft game, so that's what we've been factoring in the second quarter." What marketing? They're saying Star Wars Outlaws has the biggest marketing ever. The biggest marketing campaign ever for a Ubisoft game. I've seen nothing on this game. There's no ads for it anywhere. You literally have to look it up, and it's usually through IGN that you will find bits and pieces on it. There's nothing. There's no promotion for this game. What the hell's he talking about? As for the other question, he stated, "As we mentioned, we expect Shadows to be the most ambitious title of the series." By the way, while I'm reading this, I'll have up their statement to the Japanese players because they're not happy. So he's saying, as we mentioned, we expect Shadows to be the most ambitious title of the series. We also anticipate that Star Wars, that is usually a very strong brand around Christmas, should do very well with the busy season, with a strong impact also from something content. Apparently it was inaudible, they couldn't hear what he said in that part, from both games. And also we expect further growth from Rainbow Six Siege, as well as a strong impact of Shadows on the back catalogue of Assassin's Creed, plus the contribution of X-Defiant. Dempsey then questioned, when you talk about it being the most ambitious, are you hoping for it to be the best-selling Assassin's Creed game? And the CEO responded, at this time we can say we expect Assassin's Creed to be among the high sellers of the company so far. Yeah, good luck with that. Absolutely good luck with that. Because we're seeing how this game is just making people go nuts. And I'm not talking about every single one of us and every single Japanese person calling it out for it putting a black man as your playable lead character in feudal Japan, which is just ridiculous as it is. No, we're talking about the freaks out there, like the ever-lovable Alyssa McCanty, who are just going nuts at the fact that this game looks like it's going to absolutely bomb. And yes, she has put herself in the shit again, because Kotaku senior editor Alyssa McCanty plays dumb and blames Mark Kern after she described Japanese people as racist for calling out Assassin's Creed Shadows. Yeah, so Grums, she's saying it's his fault that Japanese players are racist. Yeah. So McCanty initially reacted to the statement from Ubisoft addressing the backlash the company has been receiving for its Assassin's Creed Shadows game. The company has received significant backlash on the social media, on YouTube, and in the form of a change.org petition. The change.org petition currently has over 96,000 signatures and accuses Ubisoft of insulting Japanese culture and history. In fact, it even calls on the company to immediately discontinue the launch of Assassin's Creed Shadows and show sincere research and respect for the Japanese history and culture. And it's like, why wouldn't they? And again, you're seeing, while we're talking, all that massive statement them morons put out. McCanty responded to the post. The statement that Ubisoft released. Yeah. Which was specifically addressed to Japanese players by writing on X. This is what she wrote. Maybe just say, your racist response to a video game is indicative of moral decay. Get bent instead of this. Wow. What an absolute fucking numbnuts this woman is. Holy Christ. Somebody needs to put her over their knee and just give her a spanking. Just shut up, dumb bitch. Slap. Shut up. From there, she published an article on Kotaku claiming that anyone criticizing Ubisoft was just engaging in hate. Her headline says, this was never about anything other than hate. Well, of course it is. This is the same woman who sat there and said, let's all just be nicer this year and be nicer to one another. And all she does is spew hate and vile crap. She declares in the article, a fledgling but ferociously loud group of gamers will tell you the Assassin's Creed Shadows backlash is about respecting Japanese culture or refusing to accept woke ideologies that are being forced into their games by consulting groups who hold no real power. But just like in 2014, during the first full-throated iteration of Gamergate, this was never about anything other than hate. McCanty supports this claim, writing that the response to Ubisoft's post were exactly what you'd expect. Racist images, slurs, and calls for historical accuracy in a video game series that has always been steeped in science fiction. She is just an absolute insane lunatic. I swear to God, she is so desperate for attention. To sit there and say the Japanese culture that is pushing back against this idea of them putting a black man as the lead character in feudal Japan deems them racist. Would you make a Native American video game? Whether it's Assassin's Creed, whether it's any other type of game. You make it, put it in like the 1400s, whatever. Who cares? Native Americans. But you make the main playable character the white man. Do you think they would sit back and say, it's just a game, what are you worried about? No, they'd be losing their minds. Ubisoft has absolutely destroyed themselves by not just this game, but then by showing you just how bad and cheap this Star Wars Outlaws game looks. They are in serious trouble with these games. And now you're seeing that the investors are questioning, hey, why are we pumping money into this company if this is the shit you're going to be pumping out? Think it's time these gaming companies take a long hard look in the mirror and think to themselves, should we have introduced DEI and the likes of Sweet Baby Inc. and whatnot? Yeah, the problem is you made the bed, now you have to lie in it. And when these games flop and don't come off the shelves, what are you going to do? And don't forget, this is also the company who said, oh, we don't want gamers to own the games. We're geniuses, these people. Pioneers. Anyway, with that, I shall leave it there for this one. I know it's a bit of a long one, but it has to be done. So with that, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let's keep the channel growing. And I'll catch you all in the next one.